Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the second female judge to serve on the Supreme Court of the United States, was born on March 15, 1933. She was a legal pioneer for gender equality and an iconic figure for feminists who nicknamed her the notorious RBG. In 2018, she was the subject of a popular documentary called RBG. As a groundbreaking lawyer for the American Civil Liberties Union in the 1970s, Justice Ginsburg successfully argued a series of cases in front of the High Court that broke down gender barriers.
These classifications must be rethought. Are they genuinely favorable, or are they indications of stereotypical thinking about the way women or men are?
Justice Ginsburg grew up in Depression-era Brooklyn and attended Cornell, where she met her husband, Martin Ginsburg. In 1954, she graduated first in her class at Cornell. 2 years later, she enrolled at Harvard Law School, where her husband was already enrolled.
A man who believed at age 18, when we met, that a woman's work, whether at home or on the job, is as important as a man's.
Justice Ginsburg was one of 9 women in a class of more than 500. During her years as a law student, Ginsburg took care of her newborn daughter, Jane, and her husband, who was then diagnosed with testicular cancer. After her husband recovered and found a job at a New York law firm, she transferred to Columbia Law School, where she tied for first in her class at graduation in 1959. Ginsburg struggled to find work because of her gender.
For women of my generation, the challenge was to get that first job, because most legal employers wanted no lady lawyers.
Eventually, she landed a position as a clerk for a federal district court judge and went on to join academia, and in 1972, she became the first woman hired with tenure to Columbia Law School. Around the same time, she became the first director of the ACLU's Women's Rights Project. With the ACLU, she brought 6 cases before the Supreme Court between 1973 and 1979.
Mr. Chief Justice.
Mr. Chief Justice.
Mr. Chief Justice.
Mr. Chief Justice.
Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the court.
Her team won 5 cases,
Concerns the entitlement of a female wage earner
And the complete absence of justification for exempting any woman.
that together established that the Constitution's Equal Protection Clause applied to women as well as racial minorities. In 1980, President Jimmy Carter appointed her to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit. June 14, 1993, President Bill Clinton announced her nomination for the Supreme Court.
It is to my mother, Celia Amster Bader, the bravest and strongest person I have known, who was taken from me much too soon. I pray that I may be all that she would have been had she lived in an age when women could aspire and achieve, and daughters are cherished as much as sons.
2 months later, she was confirmed by a wide margin.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge
And that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
In 1996, she wrote a decision ordering the Virginia Military Institute to admit women. That ruling ended a 157-year tradition of all-male education at the state-funded school. In 2006, she sharply objected to a ruling that said workers may not sue their employers over unequal pay caused by discrimination alleged to have begun years earlier. And she joined with Justice Anthony Kennedy for a string of liberal victories on same-sex marriage, affirmative action, and abortion. Outside of the court, Justice Ginsburg was known for her intensive workout routine, her love of opera, and her close friendship with Justice Antonin Scalia.
And I was listening to him and disagreeing with a good part of what he said, but thought he said it in an absolutely captivating way.
I think we should leave it at that.
She drew attention for falling asleep in the 2015 State of the Union address.
At least I wasn't 100% sober, because before we went to the State of the Union.
And she drew criticism for her frank remarks, particularly on then presidential candidate Donald Trump. Justice Ginsburg is survived by her children and 4 grandchildren.